Brazilian authorities retake capital after pro-Bolsonaro rioters ransack government buildings. Brazilian authorities retake capital after pro-Bolsonaro rioters ransack government buildings. Residents across Brazil were invited to a party on social media. The festa invites were a series of thinly disguised metaphors to gather at a complex of government buildings known as Praça dos Três Poderes, 3 Powers Square, outside Congress to protest the election results. The main one was an invitation for Brazilians to attend Selma's party. Selma is a play on the word selva, which in Portuguese translates to jungle. It is also used by the Brazilian military as a war cry. The demonstrators were staunch supporters of Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro and were asking the new president, leftist Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, to leave, falsely claiming that he won in a stolen election. Brazil's Lula inaugurated as new president after Bolsonaro reportedly fled to Florida, home of MMA fighter. Next. Image 1 of 4. Members of social movements gather at Avenida Paulista in defense of democracy in São Paulo, Brazil, on January 9, 2023, a day after supporters of Brazil's far-right former President Jair Bolsonaro invaded the Congress, Presidential Palace, and Supreme Court in Brasilia. Danilo Martins Yoshioka/Anadolu Agency via Getty Images. Prior to the violent protest, influencers on social media platforms invited patriots to Festa da Selma. In one viral video, a man describes the ingredients for the party, including a brand of Brazilian sugar called Union, and 5 large heads of corn. Corn is another wordplay. Milho means corn and milhão means a million. The suggestion is that 5 million people were invited to attend the protest. One of first to use Selma's party was a now deleted Twitter profile at Fernand58617686, whose bio read, God, Homeland, Family and Freedom. Conservative, right. Democrats organize bid to extradite Bolsonaro from Florida after Brazilian capital attackc. In another now suspended Twitter account, at Vanessa's Dyer, wrote, Selma's party is going to be rocking today. Guests keep coming. She asked you to make this invitation viral. Entry is free for all Brazilian patriots, except for children and the elderly. It's going to be the greatest show of all time, don't miss out. Cheers Selma. Organizers posted dates, times and routes for the Liberty caravans that would pick people up in at least 6 Brazilian states and ferry them to the party. The posts advertised free buses with everything for free: water, coffee, lunch, dinner. Next. Image 1 of 6. Workers clear debris caused by radical supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro following a riot at Planalto Palace on January 9, 2023 in Brasilia, Brazil. Andressa Anholite/Getty Images. On Sunday, the online activism culminated in busloads of people landing in the capital, Brasilia. The protesters, dressed in the nation's green and yellow colors, smashed windows and furniture and ripped up documents before law enforcement forced them back into the streets. Following the riot, Brazilian authorities detained about 1,500 supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro who participated in riots that targeted Congress, the Presidential Palace and the Supreme Court. Brazilian President Lula da Silva has vowed consequences for those who participated and has opened an investigation into how the riot was financed. We will not allow democracy to slip out of our hands, da Silva said Monday evening. In the name of defending democracy, we will not act in an authoritarian way with anyone, but we also will not go lightly on them. We will investigate and find out who financed it. In a series of tweets, Bolsonaro condemned the depredations and invasions of public buildings, according to a translation of his tweet. President Joe Biden condemned the violent protest on Sunday while traveling in El Paso, Texas, calling it outrageous. Bolsonaro condemns Brazil rioters, denies organizing Capitol riot. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan tweeted, "The United States condemns any effort to undermine democracy in Brazil. President Biden is following the situation closely and our support for Brazil's democratic institutions is unwavering. Brazil's democracy will not be shaken by violence." Secretary of State Antony Blinken wrote that the U.S. condemns the attacks, stating, "Using violence to attack democratic institutions is always unacceptable. We join at Lula official in urging an immediate end to these actions." On Monday, Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, declared the rioting a violating event and said it would remove content that supports or praises these actions. Sarah Rumpf is a Fox News digital production assistant. You can reach her on Twitter at @RumpfSarasi.